Hey, welcome back to I Date Money, Money Talks. I'm Lisa Drennan, your hostess, and today we are talking about 3 steps to build real wealth without budget burnout. I hear so many people complain that I don't like spreadsheets, I don't like the software, I don't like. And a lot of times it's just a habit. We get into this habit of not wanting to do something because we imagine that it's going to take up so much of our time and energy that we just keep putting it off. I have a client that I'm working with that literally has been putting off dating her money every single week for 4 months or so now. And I'm like, what's this really about? And habits are so important to address because when we think about how we're taking action. What are we used to doing? What steps are we taking to make a change? Or are we just falling back into old patterns? And what are some of those old patterns? They say that when we make a decision to change something, it happens. But a lot of times we have this tug, there's this war between our head and our heart. And there's this tug in our heart to do the right thing. But then our head is like, no, go back to the way it was. To take drinking, for example, I've been sober now for 8.5 months, right? And it's like, how did I change the habit? I had wanted to do it before, but I couldn't. Well, I made the choice, and then I still enjoy mocktails and the fancy glass, but I enjoy being sober. I enjoy remembering what's going on in the daily lives and the interactions, instead of being all fog-headed and cloudy and, distorted. I have clarity. And what a great habit to change from, drinking a bottle of wine to enjoying a mocktail instead. So, what are the 3 steps to build real wealth without budget burnout? We all know that managing money can feel overwhelming, especially when budgeting feels like a never ending chore. Who wants to do a chore? But let's make it fun. So, I'm here to tell you that it can be fun. Dating your money is fun, and paying taxes is fun. Paying your bills is fun. Giving is fun. So, the first thing that you want to do is prioritize your profit. You are your best investment. You are your best asset. And knowing what your number is, knowing, excuse me, what's the bottom line that you want to have. So many people, last year the buzz was, I want to make 10K months. This year I'm saying I want to make 40K months. Okay, most of I'm an independent insurance broker and I help people currently in 15 different states get health insurance. If they qualify for a tax shelter credit in the marketplace, you know, they will get help with paying for healthcare costs, and that's another topic. But some of these people only make $33,000 a year working a 9 to 5. So when we put that number in perspective, when we know what our profit is, what's that bottom line number after you pay all of your expenses, your team, whatever? What's that number that you want in your pocket? So this means setting aside a portion of your income, whatever you're bringing in, to pay yourself first. No matter how small, okay, there's the paycheck, but there's also the profit. If you're a CEO of a company, you're going to get a bonus. I remembered when I was working at the Social Security Administration, every year we would get a cash award based on performance. And sometimes it was just based on, um, a special thing, a project, if we were doing a group project or something. But I really looked forward to that award. My husband, Kodak is a big, or was a big company name. They would get bonuses based on company performance. Those bonuses are profit. We're sharing the profit. So, in your own business as a CEO, don't you want to prioritize your profit so that you can keep more money in your pocket so that you can enjoy and reap the benefits of what your company is doing? Yes, of course. And I hear so many people say, oh, I'm just going to make all this money and put it back into my business. No. Have you been on Shark Tank? Have you watched Shark Tank? Do you think they take all of their profits and put it back into the business? Yes, they do invest in business, right? But with a strategic mind that the ROI is going to be multiple. They're going to make money on that investment. And yes, if you take your profit and you put it back into your business with the intent to multiply money, be sure you know how it's going to help you make money. Okay, hiring a VA that does the same exact job as another VA isn't necessarily going to increase your profits. So when you think about that profit, how this helps you get ahead, you would pay yourself first, even if you just start with 5% of your income. So that's, when I was starting off in my business, that's what I did. I took 5% of my income and set it aside for profit. I chose not to put it back into my business because I wanted to reap the benefits. I was already allocating 29% for operating expenses, which was money staying in my business. So 5% is a very small amount to enjoy. So I decided to use it for travel in order to just be able to experience the beautiful things that are around us that we miss out on, especially as entrepreneurs, because we feel like we can't take that break. I'm telling you, me time is so important. Take that vacation. So you want to take this profit and you want to put it in, think about it as future wealth. How can I invest this in me to help me get to the next level? And I got to tell you, most entrepreneurs who get to the next level, it's not about taking more classes and hiring coaches. It's about taking me time. It's about just being in the moment and enjoying the experiences, taking time with your family, with yourself. It's so important. And imagine if you continuously do this, how your income is going to grow. You're going to leave this beautiful legacy. So the second step is to create a spending flow, not a budget. I like to call this the money map. If you think about, this is where we get stuck in traditional budgets. They're rigid. I feel like I have to stick to it and I have to account for every penny. My client Sue always never wanted to do a budget because her ex-husband had told her to track every single penny down to a stick of gum. That's tedious. Okay, we want to enjoy ourselves. We want to be able to experience life as it happens and not have to think about, oh, is it okay for me to spend this money? We want to embrace the spending flow. And we think about cash flow, we think about overflow. Spending flow is knowing where your money naturally wants to go and guiding it. And when you align your core values with your spending plan, this is what true wealth is. So identify your core financial needs, right? We all need housing, food, utilities. We have to pay our taxes. But then identify your fun money, your joyful expenses. What lights you up? Is it sitting at a cafe having a croissant with a fancy coffee? Is it going to the museum or spending the day at, an amusement park? Or maybe it's a spa day. Allocate a fixed percentage to these categories so that you're not stuck tracking every dollar. What I like to do is set up money buckets, and then I have debit cards for each of those expenses. So like I have a fun money card, and with my fun money card, I deposit the money on there every time I transfer it, and I get to enjoy it and I get to spend it the way I want to, knowing that this card is specifically for fun. So imagine no longer feeling restricted, but feeling empowered because your money flows in a way that supports your lifestyle. This gets back to step one, know your number. The final step is to automate your financial success. One of the biggest culprits of budget burnout is the constant decision fatigue around money. So let's eliminate that by automating your key financial actions. Set up automatic transfers. And someone had told me that they did automatic transfers, but then something happened and money was deducted from the wrong account. So if you have multiple accounts, make sure, what I do is set up a money account just for fixed expenses. Everything gets automated. I know the exact dollar amount that needs to go in there every month. It gets deposited and I don't have to think about it. Set it and forget it. This helps your spending flow. And then creating a money account for flexible expenses. And maybe you don't want to set those up on automatic because they're going to fluctuate every month. But you deposit the money in there and then you know what you need to pay, and then you can take that action when you date your money to pay it. So thinking about setting up these money buckets to create this cash flow so that you're not constantly adjusting or worrying about your money. And then you know that exactly where your money is going and how you want it to spend. Because here's what I want you to remember. Building wealth without budget burnout isn't just possible, it's necessary. It starts with prioritizing you, your best asset. Take your profit, create a spending flow instead of a budget, and automate your financial success. And the best part, you'll feel free, empowered, and excited about your money again. Think about, I get to date money. I get to have that relationship, that partnership. And if you want to go deeper with this, if you're like, you know what, Lisa, I'm so confused by your money buckets. I'm not really sure if I can afford to set aside even 5% for profit because, things are tight and my P&L doesn't match my bank accounts. Then let's talk. Book your wealth activation call. The link is in the show notes because it doesn't matter how much money you have. It's what you do with it.